Morning.
Morning, Richard. Well,
Good
afternoon,
Good
Richard.
afternoon, Paul. Welcome to the viewers. Welcome, viewer.
Hello.
Thanks for tuning in to yet another episode of
Sunday Chat.
Le Chat de Dimanche. Which, of course, would mean the cat,
of Sunday.
The Sunday cat. But, of course, some viewers in France may be seeing the title and thinking it is something to do with cats.
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
I don't
is
know
cat?
anything. Chat. Le chat.
Oh, yeah. No, we just...
That's why I just
No,
said
what
that.
I meant is, what is chat?
What is chat?
Yeah.
I don't know. Parler, le parler.
Le parler, chatter.
Chatter?
Yeah.
Chatter?
Chatter. Yeah.
I don't think so, Paul. Anywho, welcome, bloody welcome, and thank you for tuning in and subscribing. Hit the bell for notification. Jesus, Mary, Mother of God.
That's the Sunday bit, isn't it?
Yeah, worship, the Sunday worship.
Yeah, and now we got the chat bit coming up. Yeah.
So, anywho, let's make a start. Welcome to our bosom. The bosoms of Richard and Paul.
Yours aren't very big, really, are they?
No, they're smaller than they were.
Yeah, they're lacking. Yeah.
Well, I don't think so. Anywho, let's get on. So we normally kick off, for those of you who are perhaps new to the channel and never joined us before,
for a Sunday chat.
if you are... Oh, there's a pigeon
Pigeon.
up the chimney. If you are, bloody welcome. Thanks. Yeah.
Wood pigeon.
Oh, I've got the wrong book.
Wood pigeon. Yeah, I couldn't see the book. Yeah.
But I am using this book that was gifted to me by Vivi Gregory of What Vivi Did Next and Vivi's Kitchen Garden. I wish that pigeon would shut up.
I think
It's annoying me now.
It wants to join in, I think. I think it's doing its sort of pigeon version of Sunday Chat.
Yeah, alright. I do apologise for this. This is what coffee does. So we normally kick off with Richard and Paul's weather report, and today is no exception.
No exception.
This week's weather has been rather disappointing for the time of year. And as you can see, I'm still wrapped up in my hoodie and my scarf, my pashmina, and my fingerless gloves because it's bloody cold.
And your thermal leggings. And these woolly underwear. Yeah.
No, I haven't got woolly underwear on. I haven't got any underwear on, actually.
Haven't you?
No.
Your bits are
I know.
bingling about.
Underneath these clothes, I'm completely naked.
I think everybody is underneath their clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so cold, damp.
Oh, yeah. Cold. Really cold.
Cold.
It got down to 2 degrees this week during the evening. Overnight. I mean, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, I know we get frosts and we can get frost, but this is unusual. It really is unusual to be that cold at night for prolonged periods.
It's really been a crappy spring.
Yeah.
It's one of the crappiest springs I've ever known.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, Paul. I wouldn't lie.
Well, you would, yeah.
No, I wouldn't.
But,
Do you mind? Really? Is this Paul's Have a Go Richard show?
I'm going to have my coffee.
Just annoy Richard as much as possible.
Got a B.
Yeah, I'll give you a B in a minute. Anyway, it's warming up, apparently, next week. Apparently we're going to get to the dizzying heights of 18 degrees.
Yeah, during the day.
We've got a new Australian colleague at work.
Australian?
I do apologise, Australia.
Yeah, I think that was more South African.
I do apologise, South Africa. We've got a new Australian colleague at work. I mean, I'm almost doing the accent myself now. I'm so sorry, I just can't help it. And I had to resist doing it with her.
You do, don't you? You do, yeah.
And she said, I said to her, you know, this is kind of how spring can be. She said, it's so cold. You know, I've left Australia behind and it was sort of 30 degrees, and I said, well, it does occasionally get very, very warm in the UK, but only for about a day.
Well...
Usually, and I said, this, you know, when it gets to 18, we say, oh, it's lovely and warm.
It's balmy.
I've had enough with the accents today, Paul, I really have, honestly. So, yeah, it's just...
And then you said about something cold.
What?
Snow.
Oh, yeah, she told me that she'd only ever seen snow once when she was 10 in New Zealand. And so I showed her a video, a little reel that I'd taken a few years ago now from the top of the house when it snowed. And it's on Instagram. You can find it on our reels on Instagram if you look back, if you can be bothered. I know, it's such a trial scrolling all the way back, isn't it? Yeah, but there's plenty of beautiful pictures on our Instagram page. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and of course our Facebook group, Planet Vegetaria, which you may join, but you need to answer the questions, or
yes.
The computer will say no.
Yes, yes.
Within
answer
an hour.
those questions.
Within an hour. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Because it's automatic, you see.
Yeah, that's right. We've
You
said it
answer the
before.
questions.
We've said it before,
and you get
we'll say
through.
it again.
You don't answer the questions. You don't.
So lovely. So.
And she was surprised at how much snow there was.
Yeah.
We said that.
Well, it goes without saying that I said she'd never seen snow since she was 10.
In New Zealand, yeah, and you showed her the real.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Her jaw dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, update on my bad back journey. It's pretty good now. I weaned myself off the painkillers because I felt that was, you know, the right thing to do. And yeah, it's a little tiny, little bit twingy, but it's okay. Thank you for all your messages of support during my bad back journey. So,
I had a bit of a twinge when I got out of bed this morning. I did, yeah. He thumped me last night.
Well, I thought you were an alien.
He did.
I had a nightmare. I was having a nightmare about... There was an alien from the Alien movies, and it was chasing this man, and I just happened to be watching it. And then there was a lift, and it was going up the lift, and it was following the scent of this man. But it was like I was in a video game because I could see the scent trail in yellow, like a yellow streak going through the air.
Like bees do.
And yeah, and the alien, and then we were in a car in America because we were on the other side of the road, and it was a little bit like San Francisco, lots of hills.
Undulating.
And then you were in the car with me, and we were wearing these uniforms. They were yellow and brown. It was almost like an old McDonald's uniform. Don't know why, and little hats. And we were turning right. And of course, right turns in the US are different to our right turns.
Well, yes, sort of.
Yeah, they are, because you don't have to swing all the way over the other side of the road, do you? You go round the corner.
Well, it's like a left turn.
Yeah.
For us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's when I saw that, so I realised we were in America, and there was an alien. Yeah.
And he thumped me.
So I thought you were the alien, and I was trying to get rid of you, I think. Well, that's the price you pay when you sleep with somebody.
Yeah, that's 4 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't get back to sleep.
You were probably snoring, making alien-type noises.
I might have been, yeah. I do find some of the turnings in America very confusing, I have to say, because you have so many more lanes in America, generally, in sort of built-up places than we do over here. Yeah, and it's sort of like the traffic lights are on red, but if you're turning right, you can still turn right even though it's on red, and in some areas, and I just find it all very confusing
Thank
when
you
I have
for
been
that,
there.
Paul. We
That's
do
quite all
appreciate
right.
that.
Yeah.
I've been feeling a little under the weather, I have to say. I've exchanged my bad back journey for my under the weather journey. I feel as though I've had a cold coming on, and it felt worse this morning, and I don't feel as bad, but I feel very tired. It's been a long week.
Oh, it has been a long week.
And it's felt like a long month.
Yeah, April, I mean, normally I will say something like, oh, you know, it's the beginning of the month and that last month has just whizzed by and blah, blah, blah. April feels as though it's gone on forever to me. It really does.
We're nearly at the end now.
We're nearly at the end of April. For Earth's Sake is now in its 4th week of reopening, so the end of today, which is Saturday for us doing this here, will be its 4th week of opening, and it feels as though it's been open for like 8 weeks or something. I don't know, April just has felt long and hard and a bit tedious, really. It really has, and that, I think it's down to the weather, you know. It's the lack of respite that we've had from that cold weather at night that has really got to me.
I think it's also this sort of feeling that we're still in winter. You know, normally we sort of, I mean, we did have a week of fairly nice warm weather, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean,
at the beginning of April.
But also we've had bouts where in the afternoon or the morning, if the sun has been out and the sky has been relatively clear, in the sun it's been absolutely lovely.
Well, yeah.
You know, nice and warm. But then you turn a corner and you're in the shade and it is cold, cold, cold.
I mean, the light is back now. You know, it's light until fairly late.
We're having to, and also in the morning it's the sun rises early.
Yeah, so it's the days are much longer now, which is just great, but it's just so cold still and feeling damp, and you know, and it's a little bit annoying really with all the rain, because we've got this work going on outside the house which is progressing really well. Give you an update in a second on that, but it, you know, we just need a nice dry spell, with a little bit of warmth, just to warm things up.
And enough rain to keep things growing nicely as well, preferably at night.
I mean, we've had quite a lot of rain. I mean, the garden's looking very lush and very overgrown, I have to say.
Yeah.
I'm desperate to get out there and do that. But there's no point in doing any work externally until this work has finished. Because they've got stuff on the patio, which means there's not a lot of space to do anything. So, anyway, update on the work. So, most of the repairs have been done.
And scrapings of walls and things.
Dried paint. Base coats have gone on.
Or the sealant has gone on.
Then a base coat, then an undercoat. And then the next coat to go on will be the colour, which is going to be a pale grey, almost a white, like an off-white, but in the grey spectrum rather than the cream spectrum. So I would imagine it's another couple of weeks, I would have thought. Because the windows need to be done.
I would have thought, maybe a week and a half.
Yeah, and any little bits and pieces that we spot that need finishing. So today has been doing some cleaning indoors, because whenever you have any work done, as many of you will probably know, especially in an old house like this where we have what are called air bricks dotted around the property, which feed air under the floorboards, which were essential in any houses that have open fires, to allow circulation of air and allow the air to draw up the chimney so it takes the smoke with it. With air bricks, dust starts to come in, and there's been a bit of dust coming in, so I had to do some mopping this morning.
Of the hallway?
Yeah, because, dust ingress.
Dust.
So it's all progressing well. We're really pleased with the result. It's all looking very fresh and clean, although a little bit brilliant white at the moment, which will look a lot better once that final coat goes on.
Yeah, so the brilliant white is the undercoat that has gone on. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's not been too disruptive, really.
No.
Really?
No, I mean,
Oh.
since the SCAF went up, which, as you know, was scaffold, which was really sort of anxiety-ridden for me, it's been absolutely fine. Yeah.
The guys are really nice guys, and they're getting on with the work. So
They did compare my coffee to our friend's coffee that one of them worked on her house about 6 weeks ago. My coffee is pretty crap compared to hers.
Yeah, because she used cow's milk.
Well, she uses cow's milk, but she was also giving them the Nespresso
Well,
things.
we
Yeah,
don't have an espresso machine.
that's
But you
what I
don't-
said.
Your coffee's not great unless you make it milky like mine.
There we
I
are.
think you make it too strong.
Right, there we are.
You
There
do?
we are.
I've said that to you before, Paul.
You have, yes.
Many times.
And I've ignored you.
Well,
completely.
exactly. This one's fine because it's nice and pale. It's a nice coffee colour rather than a sort of mud colour like
I've
yours.
got mine's a darker coffee. It's
It's
a
too
stronger
dark.
coffee. Yeah, but I like my coffee like that.
Yeah, but not everybody else
No,
does.
they
Paul.
don't, which is why
So
I
think
make
that's
it
quite
weaker.
selfish.
But actually, one of the guys who's working, he likes 2 teaspoons of coffee in about 2 tablespoons of boiling water.
What?
So like a double espresso.
Oh, disgusting! You can't do that with you can't do that with instant coffee. Honestly,
Well, there we
really,
There we
Paul. Anyway, let's move on. God.
So yeah, for her sake, it's another busy week we've had it for her sake, and we're now on sale with Anne Reid and Stefan Bednarczyk doing this cabaret called Turned Out Nice Again. That's on the 1st of June. We'll put a link for it down below. It's a Greek dinner and cabaret evening at Vanessa's Great Green Barn, which is opposite on the other side of the lane from where the shop is. So that's been sort of quite busy this week. Got a lot done. Print and things like that as well, you know, leaflets and things. So it's been busy, yeah. But my drive down there and back this week was rather lovely. Again, I'm taking the different route. I'm not going down the M25 or around the M25. I'm going down the M3 and then cutting across. And even though it still takes me about 1 hour and 3/4, 2 hours, I'm sort of moving all the time and not stuck in an hour queue on the M25, which I can't bear. Yeah. So yeah, that's been busy. So yeah.
Great, fascinating, Paul.
How's
Thank you.
your week been, Richard?
Well, you just have to look at my daily vlogs, which are a bit thin this week, I'm afraid, because it's just been a week of work. It's just work.
You've
That's
been late at night. You've stayed back to do some work.
3 occasions this week I've stayed late, but not by a lot, by about half an hour, 20 minutes, just to finish off. But my life is just work, getting up, going to work, coming home, eating, going to bed, getting up, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I think a lot of people will appreciate that is. It's the same for so many billions of people, isn't it?
When you've had the experience of working part-time and having a little bit of freedom, albeit being poor as well,
Poorer.
yeah, I mean the extra money that I'm earning is going towards paying for this work that we're having done. So, you know, that's the way it goes. I'm doing as many hours as I can. Plus, there's nobody else to do the cover at the moment.
Yeah. I think that's the big
Because
thing,
of
isn't
sickness.
there? Yeah. So, I mean, it's like when you were ill with your back, you know, you were in such back pain, you had to go in because there was nobody else to cover.
Yeah. That's it.
You know, it
but
was
that's the way of
those
things.
days,
That's the way of things sometimes. And, you know, like I said to my colleagues the other day, well, I actually enjoy being at work. You know, I don't hate my job, but it is... it's a quite a heavy workload some days, you know. So you have moments. You've got moments of quietness, and you've got moments where usually several things appear at once that have to then be prioritised and worked through as quickly as possible whilst being accurate. That's the name of the game, you know. You've got to be accurate. And last week was, well, the beginning of this week was challenging because I was still on pain relief, and that makes you foggy. So I was having, at one point I'm putting 2022.
Really?
I think it was Monday.
Oh dear.
Because the date was 2024-04-22.
Yeah.
So I was putting 2022-04-22. Having to correct myself, you know. Yeah, because you have to be accurate. And also it's about using the brain, because you've got to describe things very often. You know, you've got to describe something succinctly, yet give a good idea of what the situation is. So it's coming up with the words to use, and so you can make it sound as full as possible, yet not telling a life story, you know.
And sometimes you've got to, when you're trying to get the information from a client or a client's family, you very often get information which is important to them but might be superfluous to
very often.
the you know what services are offered and what you need to be able to pass on to somebody else to make sure that they get the information or the service they need.
Well,
you know.
Customer service, this is called, well, the skill in dealing with that is call control. And calls are controlled by asking the right kind of questions, and also by stopping people when it's appropriate to stop them. You know, and doing it in a polite way. You know, I do very often say, I'm sorry, can I stop you there? Let me just ask this question because I need to find this information. And they very often say, well, sorry, was I giving to... No, it's fine, but let me just ask you this, blah, blah, blah. To keep control so you can get what you need, you know?
Yeah.
Because I know the limitations of the service.
Yeah.
You know.
I think many people who've had elderly parents and have visited the doctor with elderly parents about one or other parent's issues will sort of also sort of appreciate that sometimes, you know, I think with Dad, every time Dad went to the doctor, Dad was relatively well. It was sort of like, well, no, Dad, you've got this, you know, you're feeling this, and oh yeah, well, I've got that. And with Mum would go through her, oh, it's my legs, and it's like, well, actually, we're here about your breathing today, Mum, aren't we? Oh yeah, but my legs hurt as well, and it's sort of trying to make sure that the salient information gets through to people. I think that's so important.
I think also it's also about, you know, once you've got the information that you need for the particular person that it's aimed at in the service, it's also about acknowledging that there are other things as well. You know, so very often I might say, you mentioned earlier about X, Y, and Z. Tell me a little bit more about that, because that might be for signposting to another service.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I might be able to offer advice and say, well, actually, you need to approach these people about that, or I can do that for you, but that's separate to the other issue for the social work team. This might be for the health team. You know, so you can signpost as well. So it's important not to ignore what people say,
Oh
you know,
yeah,
in
absolutely.
its entirety, but to break it up so you can actually filter it in the correct way. Because, you know, the social work team can't do anything about your health issues.
No.
They don't deal with that, so, you know. But sometimes people think, they'll say, I want to speak to a social worker about this, and then they give you a health issue. You have to say, well, that's not the social worker's remit. That needs to go to nursing, you know. So, yeah, you know, but I know my job.
Well, that's a good thing after
It is a good
17
thing.
years.
Yeah. Anywho, let's move on with the show, Paul. Let's move on with...
Oh, I had a blood test this week.
Really?
I did. On Monday, I had a blood test. And I'm just going to say it because the lady was so confident and so good, and she was young, and it's the best blood test I've ever had taken.
Oh, how nice.
It was, yeah.
I do hope that's not
it was
triggering
quite
for
fun.
anybody.
It might be. It wasn't for me. It was quite fun. Yeah. Ah, there we are. The joys of life. Yeah, as one gets older.
I need my other glasses, Paul. I'm
Which ones?
sorry, those
over
ones
there?
over there, because otherwise I won't be able to read this. These are my reading glasses.
Oh.
They're not that strong, they're just readers.
Dearie me. Gosh.
Are you all sitting comfortably now, viewers?
I am.
For the word of the day. So this book is A Word for Every Day of the Year by Stephen Poole. And I'm going to be reading from it. There's quite a lot on this word. Oh, great.
What you've chosen it. Is it the day?
Oh,
is it the
bloody
right day?
page.
Yeah, it is. It says April.
27th of April, which is today, the day of filming.
Yeah.
And the word is subaltern. 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 S for sugar, U, B for boy, A, L, T, E, R, N. Subaltern. Here we go.
It sounds as though it's something which is something that's alternative but not quite as good.
Yeah. So let's have a look, shall we? Oh God, there are words in here that I haven't...
You don't know. We got several words of today.
God, it's not the easiest of reads.
Oh, dear. Oh my God, there's a whole page.
I just want this means this.
You could do a...
shush now, Paul. I'm trying to get up to reading it. Okay. The Italian philosopher Antonio Gramsci, who died on this day in 1937, introduced the term subaltern into political theory to refer to oppressed and marginalised groups within a particular society. The word comes from the Latin term for. The word comes from the Latin term for of inferior rank, subalternus, and
subalternus, yes,
and was used this way from the 16th century to describe subordinate jurisdictions, professions, or groups of people, as well as junior military officers.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
In Horace Walpole's 1764, not 1964, I'll start again. Oh, God. In Horace Walpole's 17...
Why do you say Walpole?
Walpole. We've got a Walpole Park.
We do have a Walpole Park, yeah.
1764 novel, The Castle of... Oh, God, is that another word? The Castle of Otranto. The preface that introduces the supposedly found manuscript refers to the servants of the story with this term. Some persons may perhaps think the characters of the domestics too little serious for the general cast of the story, but besides their opposition to the principal personages, the art of the author is very observable in his conduct of the subalterns. The subalterns. It's not the easiest of reads, and I've not rehearsed this. There is more.
I think that's obvious.
Much later, however, one of Gramsci's, that's the man at the beginning, the Italian philosopher.
1937, who died on this day. Yeah.
Much later, however, one of Gramsci's successors was to worry that the word had become too widely applied in politics. Many people wanted to claim the badge of subalternity, said the Indian scholar. Oh, jeez. There's an Indian scholar's name now.
Come on, what is it?
Said the Indian scholar Gayatri Chakravorty Spivak. But she continued, it is not just a classy word for oppressed. In post-colonial terms, everything that has limited or no access to the cultural imperialism is subaltern, a space of difference. Well, I do hope you found that interesting. I found it terribly difficult to read.
I think when you sort of look at it in theatrical terms, it's quite interesting to do that, particularly with sort of like Oscar Wilde plays, things like that, because you get your sort of your main characters, then you get those that sit sort of beneath them but still important, and then those that sit beneath again. Thinking particularly of the importance of being earnest when you've got you've got butler and you've got sub-butler basically, and the butler is really quite important in the play, but the second character of that butler is lower. Yeah.
Except this is a societal.
No, I know. I'm talking about society as it sort of sits within Oscar Wilde plays.
So a sort of microcosm.
Yeah. I suppose we would term it now more in different types of demographic. That's what we would talk about in modern times.
Words.
Vivi, next year,
can I have one with
Richard's easy word book? It would be good. Yeah.
No, it's good to challenge oneself, isn't it?
It is, yeah, especially if you're reading.
Intellectually.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do hope you enjoyed that segment.
You've got those things on your nose now.
From wearing glasses?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's nice. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah,
deformity.
Make sure your nose look bigger. Yeah.
So, the final segment of the show is what have we watched on television this week? So we've started the new thriller Red Eye. Yeah, Red Eye, with Richard Armitage playing an anguished character yet again. I think he must be getting sick of those characters now. He's rather typecast, isn't he?
They pay the bills.
I'm sure, and he seems like a lovely man.
Do you know what I picked up?
Because I do follow him on Instagram.
Do you know what I picked up this week from the library?
I don't know, Paul. What did you pick up this week from the library? Do tell us.
His debut book, Geneva. I picked that up from the library. And
is it about an anguished character?
I'm sure there's an anguished character in there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, most books that I read, there's at least one anguished character. I can't speak now.
So,
yeah. I rather enjoyed it. Yeah, rather enjoyed it.
And we treated ourselves to a video rental this week.
We did!
On Amazon. I really, really fancied watching the original version of Salem's Lot with David Soul from 1979, one of my favourite horror films. So we discovered that it was available for rental on Amazon Prime. I mean, we probably got it recorded somewhere from the television on some DVD from
or
years
VHS.
ago. Oh no, I think we recorded the Rob Lowe version, the 2004 version. Yeah, but I think it was on the machine, on our DVD recorder machine thing, DVR, which of course broke, didn't it? Spectacularly, just stopped working. Anywho, so I was inspired to watch this because I was reading that they've done another version, which is apparently delayed, but maybe out this year.
Or may not.
Or may not be. It's a Warner production. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it because I love Salem's Lot. Anyway, the David Soul version.
Or was it $3.99 or something to rent?
I think it was $3.49 to rent for 30 days. We can watch it again if we want to. But of course, I saw it on TV. It must have been 1980 when it came out in the UK, maybe a little later.
1979 it came out.
Really?
Yeah,
was it
I'm
that
sure.
early? I don't remember. I think it was later.
I would have been
than that.
13. Maybe 1980, yeah.
I think it was slightly later because I was living in... We'd moved to Grandma's house. I moved when I was 11, I think.
Well, that would have been 78. 78, 79.
No, it wouldn't.
You would have been 12 in 79.
No.
You would. September 79, you'd have been 12.
It must have been when we were 12 then, when I was 12 when we moved. I remember it being slightly later.
Well, maybe it was. I'm sure, because very often, I mean, in those days, it wouldn't be unusual for something to come out, even like in the cinema, 6 months later in the UK than in the US.
I wonder when it was released. I'd have to find that out. But anyway, we watched it, we enjoyed it, because it is great fun. And it's also very creepy.
Yeah.
And it's actually very dark. Salem's Lot is one of my... In fact, I think it's my... Next to it.
It's
my
your
favourite Stephen King book. I've read it several times. I love the book. In fact, I might read that for our read-along. Rich and Paul's read-along. Coming soon.
Coming sometime.
Sometime.
Again, yeah.
We're busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Salem's Lot is, if you don't know it, it is the story of Ben Mears, who is a writer who revisits his hometown of Jerusalem's Lot, abbreviated to Salem's Lot, to write a book. And he is basing his book on the Marston House, which is a creepy old house that had some horrible happenings many years previous. And Ben went into the house when he was a child and had a vision of something very evil, and is a little bit obsessed by it. And he feels that the house is what?
I was doing obsessed.
Oh. Feels that the house is inherently evil and has now been occupied by a gentleman who he bumps into a couple of times, who is an antique dealer along with his friend. And some strange goings-on start to occur in the town.
There we are.
I won't say any more if you've not seen it, but it is directed by Toby Hooper, famous for jump scares.
Well, there were two.
There are a good.
Made you jump.
There are at least 2 jump scares in the show, and yeah, I love it. I love it.
I really enjoyed it as well.
And of course, I love David Soul. Yeah, we know, Paul. You've worked with David Soul. God, you've told us before. What show was it, Paul?
It was Blood Brothers.
Blood Brothers, he played the narrator.
He played the narrator, yes, yes.
In fact, I think I saw that show.
You did, you came and
David
saw it.
Soul.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I met David Soul.
You did.
I did meet David Soul, yeah. Yeah. I think, in fact, I think I had a drink with David Soul.
Oh, yeah.
Or was he drinking at the time?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, may he rest in peace. He was very nice.
He was lovely. Yeah, he was a lovely guy to work with. I think he did I'm not sure whether it was 12 weeks or 6 months, but yeah, it was good, and he was good box office. He really was.
Well, yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
So,
what would that have been? That would have been 97, 98, 97, I think.
We continue with Professor T.
Yeah.
Which I fell asleep to last night.
Yeah.
I was knackered. I was absolutely shattered last night.
I do enjoy Professor T. I mean, it's not Vera, but it certainly sits above Grace for me. Yeah.
We caught a little snippet of the Beech Grove Garden.
We did.
Oh,
we did.
It's changed.
It has.
It's become very, very basic.
Well,
and what they were doing to that poor lawn was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
They weren't explaining things fully. They were talking about how to patch a lawn. I know how to patch a lawn. I've done many patches. And, you basically scrape everything out, and if there's a bit of a dip, you can put some compost in, mixed with some sand, put some seed over. But they were doing it so quickly that you didn't kind of quite get it.
Well, the thing that got me is they were doing basically a hugelkultur bed, and they were talking about Charles Dowding and no dig, and then doing this hugelkultur bed
and saying it was
putting
no dig.
lots of big branches on a bed, then smaller branches and twigs, then grass, then sort of other bits, and then they put compost on top, and then saying it would be perfect to grow squash and cucumbers in. And we looked at each other and we went, but it will dry out.
Well, or the soil would just fall through the skeletal structure that they had built on a few waters, leaving a mess of... It was very odd, very odd.
I thought it was very odd, yeah.
We used to enjoy the Beech Grove Garden, didn't we, Paul?
We did.
Yeah.
In the good old days.
With Lala and Doodah, whatever their names were.
Yeah, those two.
They were characters, and they knew... You got the impression that they knew exactly what they were talking about, whereas this pair, I thought, really? Anywho, we caught an episode of The Hotel Inspector with Alex Polizzi.
We did!
Which we do enjoy, but we only really enjoy it when she's really mean to them.
Well, I don't know, I felt the last...
Like the day when she said, well, Nigel, you're just polishing a turd.
Yeah, she did. That was brilliant.
Classic Alex Polizzi.
There's been, I think, 4 so far that in this series, and 2 of them have been a bit weak, I think.
Yeah, I think so. She needs to ramp up her bitch.
I like the Italian one, that first one, but I don't think the solution that she came up with was that
They
good.
sort of seem to... When there's an episode where nothing particularly bad has happened, they seem to try and make up in script.
Yeah.
To look at the camera and say, well, I just don't know what I'm going to do with this pair. And it's like, but they've done everything really well. What do you mean? And it's like, that just doesn't fit with the whole story. So, a weak series. We continue with season 2 of Loot, which we really are gaining a soft spot for this show.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. On Apple.
Yeah, Apple TV with Maya Rudolph and several other people.
Which is good because it's a TV show.
Yeah.
Otherwise it would be a one-man show or one-woman show.
But it's got a real nice heart to it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And,
And there's some real sort of charming, and particularly in this last one, there's a few really charming bits. It's in some, I mean, it's completely different to Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
In some ways, it's got the arc of the story and the character development and the character relationships. It's very much like in Schitt's Creek so far.
Which we'll probably end up watching again.
I think we will.
Before too long.
I'd also like to watch Parks and Recreation again as well.
I think we tried that a couple of times and it didn't seem to have...
I think you fell asleep.
I don't know whether it's aged very well. And we continue with Pie in the Sky.
Yeah.
Which is a lunchtime viewing opportunity along with Bargain Hunt.
Yeah. Bargain Hunt.
The show we love to hate.
There was a couple yesterday, Friday, and they were so boring. They really were. I was like, I didn't know that it was my mood or the programme, but hey.
People probably think that about us.
Oh, I'm sure they do. Yeah. Couple of old boring queens.
That's why we're still such a small, tiny channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Intimate.
Yeah.
Intimate.
Caring. And not clickbaity. Yeah.
Not clickbaity or sensation. Oh God. Not clickbaity or sensational.
It wouldn't be. It would be nal.
Sensational.
Nal.
Sensational.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, I was just clicking my fingers.
Clickbaiting
there.
your fingers, were you?
Look, this clickbait. Look.
Paul rips all his fingernails off.
Oh, look at my fingernails. There's lots of ground underneath them.
Oh, disgusting.
There isn't really. Look.
No, I don't want to see your fingernails with dirt.
Oh, there's my fingernail. Yeah.
Right, that's it. That's
Is
it
that
now.
it?
God, yes, I'm knackered.
When he's fallen asleep at night, I have been re-watching or watching Shetland from the beginning, which is quite interesting. Yeah, but there we are. Yeah.
Bye then.
Are we going now?
You bet.
Yeah. Are you going to have a little nap?
I've got to edit this now.
I've got to edit.
Go on.
Have you done your last bit of your vlog?
No. Take care. Toodle pip.
Mind you, I've got to do my last bit for a week at the plot.
It's enough. I'm saying goodbye. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. We'll see you next week for another scintillating episode of Sunday Chat.
That isn't clickbaity.
No.
Or sensational. That makes me feel uncomfortable.
Bye. And bananas.
Tits and bums.